Hello, gentlemen. My name is Sam, and I am a conservative Catholic traditional trad, some may call trad, man, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the whole idea of masculinity as it's defined in our culture today. So, one of the biggest things that I think is really facing men in our culture today is they feel that they will be ridiculed by women if they follow a traditional man's path and take up a traditional man's role as a husband, a father, and just a general natural born leader. And what I really wanted to emphasize was how we cannot be silent anymore. This is not the time for us to reel back, to be introverts, well, I shouldn't say not to be introverts, but this is not the time for us to reel back and be silent and close ourselves off to the world and put ourselves back up in our houses because that's what's comfortable. That's not something that is not only good for us as a person, it's not good for other people around us, our other loved ones, but it is really, truly not good for the spirit to be closed off. We are social creatures. We are creatures of routine and habit, and that's something that so many people have lost today. So that's something that needs to be emphasized, especially in our culture as Gen Z, men specifically. And I'm going to be vulnerable here. I'm not going to stand up here and say that I'm the most, disciplined, strong, morally righteous person or man in the world. I don't think I can say that with 100% honesty, and if I cannot say that with 100% honesty and truth, that's not something I'm going to say. Because it's so important to be honest and real, and I think that's another thing that our culture has really lost, especially as a man, because we feel that we have to put on these facades, these fronts in a way that will make us seem cool, make us fit in. That's not something that is truly going to lead to a fruitful life. It's not something that's going to make you happy because you're not truly, I hate to sound like some sort of astrology, spiritual goof, but when I say this, I mean it with all of my heart, that we cannot be fake because that does not put us in touch with our true selves. Like, if you are putting up a front and constantly wearing clothes that you don't feel, I'm just giving very basic random examples here, but if you're wearing clothes that don't fit who you are as a person, if you're not treating people either kind enough, or if you believe that you're too much of a nice guy is the front that you're trying to put up, in order for people to think you're cool, in order for people to think you are something you're not, you will never truly find fulfillment from that, and that's not healthy. Truly, truly not healthy. I cannot emphasize that enough. So as I said earlier, I was going to be a little bit vulnerable. Sorry, I kind of got off topic there. But for me personally, I have not been in the gym as much as I would have liked lately. And when I say as much as I've liked, I think my subconscious, no, my conscience is trying to tell me, hey, maybe that's, or my conscious, excuse me, not my conscience. I don't know why I can't talk right now. It's late and I'm tired. But my conscious is trying to tell me that I'm too busy, I'm not able to fit it in, I'm tired by the end of the day, and I'm coming up with these excuses. But I think in my subconscious and deep down in my heart, I know that that's not particularly true, and if I really wanted to make it to the gym, get a workout in, whatever it may be, and this applies to so many different facets of life, I truly could. Like, if I really wanted to make it work, I would. Because there are people up here getting up at 4 a.m. and not getting off work until 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and are working that entire day. There are people that work 2 jobs just to put food on the table for their family. And if I'm saying I can't make it in the gym, there are people that go work out before doing that long work day that I mentioned. That's no excuse. And it shouldn't be one for you either. Now, I'm not saying if you got 2 hours of sleep that night and you have work that day and you have a million things going on, that you should drop it all and lose focus on your priorities. But what I am saying is that oftentimes it can be extremely easy for us to write off something as too hard, or I don't have time, or that takes too much effort for me to put in and I don't have that energy. I don't have that drive right now. I don't have that motivation. But I think we rely too heavily on motivation now, and we need discipline more than ever, and we need not even discipline. I guess I'm going to get a little bit deeper with this. So there's discipline, motivation. So you have motivation on the top, discipline on the next tier down, and then the next tier down from that is responsibility. Now, why is responsibility at the bottom? Because that is the hardest thing to acquire, that is the hardest thing to hold, and that is the hardest thing to keep. Because if you are going to be responsible as a person, that requires that every single thing that you do, you are held accountable, and you not only do you hold yourself accountable, but others will hold you accountable. But also, that requires that you have a solid routine set. With motivation, it is extremely fleeting. Motivation is not something that will last you very long. It's just not. That's how it works. Okay? Motivation is something that is fleeting. It is a feeling. It is an emotion. And yes, it may make you feel excited to go on that 5 a.m. run that one time, that second time. Heck, it could be for the whole week. But as soon as that dopamine starts to wear off and that thing starts to become a little bit less fun and more mundane and more regular, you realize the truth, you realize the reality, and you realize how tough it can be to stick to a consistent schedule and stick to your goals. So discipline is something that you're constantly telling yourself, I need to be doing this, and then you fulfill that. Discipline is something where you focus in on one goal and you say, okay, I'm going to achieve X, I'm going to achieve Y, whatever it may be, and you hold yourself accountable to that. But with responsibility is something that you need to do. Responsibility is something that's necessary. Responsibility is something that is wanted by most people. At the end of the day, you want responsibility. You want to be trusted. You want other people to trust you. Responsibility is the only true thing that will hold you accountable and that you cannot quiver from and you cannot fall off track with. Because when you are responsible for something, that is threatening to your trust as a person. For example, I'm probably not explaining this the best way, but for example, say that you're trusted with a special project at work, and that's that one thing that you have to get done or else you lose your job, or else you'll lose trust with your boss, or else you'll lose rapport and credibility with your coworkers. Responsibility is when you absolutely know down to your core and with your person that you cannot give up, or else. Fill in the blank. You cannot give up working out, or else X will happen. There will be this result. You cannot fail to feed your children. You could even say something as simple as you cannot fail to make your children breakfast in the morning, or else they will go hungry for the day. That's what responsibility is. Now, I know at its core, I know at its face, that is something that is going to be extremely easy and seem simple, and you can easily brush it off, and you could be like, Sam, well, I mean, everyone knows that. Everyone knows that responsibility means I have to do this or else something will happen. But I don't think everyone thinks this deeply about it. I don't think everyone thinks of these three tiers of motivation, discipline, and responsibility. Because responsibility is where you will grow the most. Responsibility is where you will mature the most. And responsibility is where you know for a fact what you have to do. Discipline could be something as simple as, I want to go on a run in the morning, and hold yourself to that. But responsibility is, I need to go on a run, or else. You could go to your doctor appointment and you could be 250 pounds, and your doctor could say, if you don't get to 200 pounds by the end of the year, you will have a heart attack. If you don't lose 50 pounds in a year, you will have a heart attack. X will happen. That is what responsibility is. So anyway, I'll go ahead and end it there. But basically the only quick point that I wanted to make is that a lot of the boys in our society today, and yes, I call them boys because there are an immense amount of boys and not men, even though they are technically men considered by legal standards out there. There are an insane amount of boys out there. Okay. So what I'm going to challenge you with is try and be responsible for something today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not this coming Monday, today. Take a step up and be more responsible than you have been in the past. That is what true success will look like to you. Those accumulated responsibilities, all wrapped into one package, is going to be your dream person that you want to be, is going to be the person that you want to be, that you see yourself being. So, as I said, I challenge you to just be responsible for something today, more so than you would have been yesterday. Follow that incremental path, and I promise you, you will succeed at whatever that goal is that you're trying to set. So, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Hopefully you're able to find a little bit of value out of it. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. But I truly, truly think that some of these things need to be said. They need to be spread in our culture and our society, especially as Gen Z men. You see a lot of soy boys out there. So, as I said, thank you for watching it. Thank you for taking the time. I'll see you in the next video.